So normally with a core set, we do get reprints, but I don't think we've ever had the amount of reprint value in any other core set as much as we've had in M21. So let's take a look, shall we? What's up, Commander players? My name's Matt, and you're watching Top Commander. So today's video is going to be a kind of a short, quick, easy one. It's basically just talking about the cards that we're getting reprinted in M21, because let's face it, a lot of people thought this should have been a master set, and for good reason. But before I get into that, if you wish to support this channel, be sure to like, share, and subscribe if I can talk this morning. And if you wish to support this channel directly, be sure to visit patreon.com/topcommander. And if you wish to follow me on Twitter at MattWallace19, I'll have that on the screen as well and also in the description. But with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about some of these reprints, because there's a lot of stuff that we probably weren't expecting to hit standard format in a while. Granted, of course, we play Commander, so we're okay with this, but at the same time, at the expense of standard players not liking what's getting printed, and for very good reason. So, just right off the bat, Dugan the Spirit Dragon. It's an 8-mana planeswalker, yes, but the last time this guy was available in standard, it caused problems. It was up to like a $80 card at one point. Now, granted, with the reprint here in M21, it has brought the price down. I think last time I looked, it's about $30. So, significant drop. Will the price go back up to $80? Probably over time, depending if they give it another reprint, but for the time being, I see it going up to maybe about $60. But is this a much needed reprint? Yes, it's one of the best planeswalkers for the Commander format, but should they have put this in a master set? That was the big question, because when Dugan became known throughout the spoiler season, the way that the spoiler season even started, I don't think a lot of people caught this. They started spoiling stuff for double masters, or we started getting leaks about double masters. We started finding out, double masters was going to get the reprint of Blightsteel Colossus, which is a card all on its own that is just as powerful, if not better in some ways, than Dugan himself. But is it a card that can be used in Commander? Absolutely. These two both can be win conditions on their own, in their own right, because they're that powerful. Now, they started with the previews for double masters. We saw the reprint for Atraxa, we saw the reprint for Blightsteel, and a couple others that I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's for a master's set. That's where they print the most powerful stuff to keep it out of standard. So this one was definitely new. This one definitely caught people off guard, because then we got M21 spoilers. And then Dugan popped up over there, and a lot of people were like, shouldn't that be in this section? Is that a typo? Is that a mistake? Did somebody put it in the wrong box? What happened in that scenario? Now, is it a much needed reprint? Yes. Are standard players going to probably hate this? Yes. Because everything that I've seen, there's a lot of people complaining about standard. Now, granted, we don't worry about standard because we play Commander. Now, is this a good reprint? Absolutely. I'm glad that Wizards decided to reprint it. I'm very, very shocked that they got reprinted in a core set that goes into standard and everything. I don't know what the thinking was on that, what the logic was on that. That just kind of makes me a little scared for future sets, because the year of Commander, and we're getting Dugan the Spirit Dragon in a core set for one. I mean, that's a lot. So the next notable reprint that I saw personally was Baneslayer Angel, which is a 5/5 angel for 3 and 2 white. She has flying, first strike, lifelink, protection from demons and from dragons. I remember this back when it came out in standard. I'm not a whole lot. I'm not certain that anybody really uses this in Commander. Now, if they're doing it in like maybe an Angel tribal deck or something like that, or Kalia. But if you're running Kalia, you're probably running better Angels, let's face it. So this was one I was kind of surprised. I didn't really see this one coming because I didn't. This is one that you just don't expect them to really reprint into, like, at all, really. So, Baneslayer Angel, I thought that was kind of cool. It was more, when I saw it, it was more of a throwback for me personally. But next reprint, which I'm trying to remember the last time this card got reprinted, because I remember seeing this in Dad's collection, learning how to play Magic, and we're talking about the white border version of Glorious Anthem. 1 and 2 white for an enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Now, if any card was going to get reprinted into a core set, Glorious Anthem is it. Because that's as simple as it gets, right? Like, you want easy cards to work with in the core set. That was the whole purpose of the core sets. You want easy cards to work with that don't take a whole lot of explanation to just kind of help new players get into the game, learn the game, right? So if anything was going to get reprinted in a core set, Glorious Anthem was definitely the way to go. And I'm not going to lie, I really do like that artwork, though. But the old artwork, which I'll probably have, I'll try to get this on the screen, though. The old artwork was just, it's just too much of a throwback for me to pass up for the new one. So, alright, the next notable reprint was Ruined Halo, 2 white for an enchantment. As Ruined Halo enters the battlefield, choose a card name. You have protection from the chosen card name. Now, why would this be a notable reprint, especially for Commander players? One, you just name their commander sometimes. If somebody plays a Voltron commander, you just go, yeah, I'm going to have protection from that guy. Or they, later in the game, somebody drops a Blightsteel Colossus, and you're like, I have protection from Blightsteel. And it's just one of those, it's one of those things that is like, it's kind of a cute interaction, but it's not the best card in Commander, honestly. But I see people use it all the time for some of the most wacky scenarios, which is great. Alright, next, big reprint. The biggest reprint in this set. And I'm talking bigger than Dugan, because I was hearing about this card. I actually didn't know this card existed. Grim Tudor is 1 and 2 black for a sorcery. Search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, then shuffle your library, you lose 3 life. So this is a 3-costed demonic tutor that you have to pay life for. Okay, so it's, in a sense, it's a mix of vampiric tutor and demonic tutor. Kind of fitting, actually. And then you got the trifecta, because vampiric is 1 mana, demonic is 2 mana, and then you go to Grim Tutor, which is 3 mana. From what I'm understanding, this card used to be about $200 because it only got printed like 1 time or something like that. And I have never seen this card before. But yeah, this is definitely a much needed reprint, because in all honesty, it's not better than Vampiric or Demonic Tutor in my opinion. I would still run the 2 of them before this one. But the fact that we have a reprint, it's a new black tutor, and it's 3 cost, because when you look at them, we only have so many tutors that cost 1 and 2 that are legal or fair. But now we have Grim Tutor that costs 3, because what next? Diabolic, what is it? The Diabolic Tutor that costs 4. A lot of people don't like running those. You have to have too much mana going on for that to actually work for you sometimes. Because 4 mana to find the thing, and then you have to have the mana for the thing. So that's why tutors, the better tutors and the more expensive tutors, are the cheaper ones. So, in case anybody missed that concept. Alright, so the next notable reprint I thought was kind of interesting was Massacre Worm. 3 generic and 3 black for a 6/5 creature worm. When it enters the battlefield, creatures your opponents control get -2/-2 until end of turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, that player loses 2 life. So it's a semi-board wipe because it's -2/-2 to all your opponent's creatures. It's a one-sided mini board wipe. And anytime, and while it's on the field, if any of your opponent's stuff is dying, they're losing 2 life. So Aristocrats decks have to play around this a little bit. Token decks just get wrecked under this, like, in no time flat. I think if I'm not mistaken, this card has won games on multiple occasions, but still a really great reprint nonetheless. Now, this one I did talk about a little bit in my legendary creature review, which was a reprint, of course, of Azusa, Lost But Seeking. 2 generic and a green for a 1/2 legendary creature human monk. You may play 2 additional lands on each of your turns. This card, it's last time I looked, it's still $10. Which I kind of expected. I don't expect it to go down as far as $5. It's a legendary creature. You can build a deck around it if you wanted, but it sees more play in the 99 to get the additional land drops, especially if you're in a Lands Matter build, because you get the additional land drops, and you get the landfall triggers, and however you're doing your Lands Matter strategy. And it ramps you into Oblivion, especially if you have the right setup. This card gets nuts. Not really nuts, it's more of the deck just gets a shot of nitrous and just goes down the road before you even realize it. But yeah, again, another really great notable reprint. This one I was actually surprised. I don't know how much it got up to at the time, but I know when I got my copy it was about $10. Heroic Intervention is 1 and a green for an instant. Permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. In essence, a green counter spell. Let's face it. That's about what that could be used for. That's on the level of counterspell. That's a really great card, and it keeps your entire board safe. So, this is, of course, a really great reprint, much needed. The next card that got reprinted, of course, was Scavenging Ooze, which I didn't catch during spoiler season. I don't know how I missed this one. But Scavenging Ooze is 1 and a green for a 2/2 creature ooze. 1 green, exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, put a +1/+1 counter on Scavenging Ooze and you gain 1 life. So this is graveyard hate, and if you happen to be removing creatures from play, it gets bigger, and you gain life, and it's repeatable because there's no tapping to use this effect. So Scavenging Ooze is just, it's great. It's been used in so many different decks, especially in Commander. Scavenging Ooze is just a really, really solid reprint. Granted, I don't know how much it got up to. I don't know if it got that high, but it's still a really great reprint. I don't think I've seen it in a while, actually. Alright, next up, which this one I kind of expect to be printed into a core set, but I also can't remember the last time that this guy was printed in Standard. Solemn Simulacrum, 4 mana for a 2/2 artifact creature Gollum. When he enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land, put that card onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle your library. Whenever he dies, you can draw a card. Very simple. This is more of a commander staple, in all honesty. I'm surprised that they printed this into a core set. Granted, if it's going to be reprinted anywhere, it would be a core set, but normally we get the reprint every year throughout the Commander Precon series. So I'm kind of surprised on that one. That one just kind of threw me for a loop a little bit, but not terribly. The next notable reprint, granted it just came out like last year, Fabled Passage. This came out in the Throne of Eldraine set. Tap, sacrifice Fabled Passage, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle your library. Then, if you control 4 or more lands, untap that land. This is also a land. So basically, it's a fetch land that just goes against basic lands. If you have 4 lands, the land comes into play untapped. So this Fabled Passage was getting up there in price for a minute. With the reprint, I'm not sure if it's enough to really drop it too much. But hopefully they could keep reprinting this, because this is actually a really nice fetch land. I wish it was more of a budget alternative, because I still have commander decks that run Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse. I wouldn't mind running Fabled Passage in more of them, but they're kind of pricey. They're not too cheap, depending on what your budget is. I mean, in my wallet, that thing's not too cheap. Granted, I'll have to see how much it drops whenever whenever M21 does get released. But that's all the reprints all the big reprints. So now, mind you, there were a couple others, like in the uncommon slot, we did get a reprint of Cultivate, which is a good one because that usually pops up to a little bit over $2 over time. But that's another commander staple that's used in green a lot. So, I mean, there's really not much else to say. I guess, what do you guys think? Should Wizards of the Coast move these cards into a master set, not release them in a standard? Is that going to be too much for standard players? Do you even care? Or what do you guys think about the reprints? Are you just glad that we got the reprints and that's about it? Because let's be honest, that's some people's motivation behind that question. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think, and I'll be sure to see you guys next video.